Evening. Hope you all are doing good. After our first session, we are welcoming you to the next session. Today's session. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Jay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the answers. We'll get started in the next 2 minutes. Meanwhile, let me share my screen.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Satish. Good evening.
Hello, Jay. Good evening. Hi, Asta, Supreet, Aaron,
Hello.
Alexander,
Hi, Satish.
Anand. Hello, Archana,
Hi.
Gift, Josh, Lakshmi, Sanjeev, Sarat Kumar, Saurabh, Sonia, Sricharan, Shakleen. Welcome to the second session, guys, of the ServiceNow BA Bootcamp. So here we help people prepare them and get them into IT jobs in US and Canada. All right, so I see a lot of familiar faces over here and continue to come in here. And we have one more session coming up on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. The first three sessions are complimentary. I recommend you to get on a phone call with me so that you continue to learn more about our process and how we can help you. Over to Jay. Have yourself a great session today.
Thank you, Satish. Let me quickly cover today's agenda. So in the last class, we discussed about who is a ServiceNow BA, right? And then what are their roles and responsibilities? Now, in today's session, we are going to learn about that BA is, first we understood what is a BA, what is the role of BA, what BA would be doing. Now, where BA will be performing its role, what is the scope of BA's work? The scope of BA work is related to a project, right? BA will be when you will be part of a company, tomorrow you are going to work somewhere, that somewhere is your project, right? There will be multiple projects, various types of project. So we need to understand what are the phases of project, right? So when suppose you joined a company and your project manager welcomes you into a project and says that now you will have to handle this project. So I need to understand that what is this project all about, what phase I am into, what all things we have completed and what is pending. So it becomes a crucial information for you to have complete details of a project. So today we are going to learn about project lifecycle and SDLC. SDLC is your software development lifecycle. Every project has a starting and end point. But in terms of IT, we have SDLC because we create softwares in information in IT. So what are the phases? What are the different parts and how BA fits in? We'll learn about it. So first part is what is a project lifecycle? Every project follows a structured path from start to completion. So project lifecycle is, and you will be hearing this term more often now, lifecycle. Lifecycle means anything which has a start point and then it will have an end point. The duration or the steps between these 2 points are known as lifecycle. If I talk about in terms of a project, now this project is not specifically related to IT only, but it can be for any of the project you're working on. Maybe you're working on a marketing project or you're working on some finance project or something else. So first thing, what will happen? It will have an initiation phase, right? Initiation phase, it will have a planning phase, then we will have execution phase, then we will monitor it, and the last phase is your closure. So as I mentioned, any project you're working on, you will find these phases. Initiation phases where you start getting to know about the project. What are the requirements of the project, right? What is the ask and what are the objectives? What do we want to cover into this project? What is this project all about? Once you have understanding of these questions, basic questions, then you will go to the point that is known as planning. What is planning? Here you will start thinking that what exactly you want to do. You will create a plan, you will have a design in mind that this is our strategy, right? Here my strategy will be formed. If I can talk about these parts, see, first of all, I'll tell you, can we please go on mute if you are not speaking, please? First, I'll tell you about a layman's language, that how these phases looks like. Then we will move to IT part. So in layman's language, initiation phase is when we will get to know about the project, ask about project requirements, objectives, what is the vision into the project. After we have gathered information about the initial part, then we will start designing. We'll have our strategy in place. How we will be doing it? Planning phase. After planning, then I'll have execution, right? I'll start delivering. That whatever strategy I have made, I'll start working on it. This is called build part. After this is done, then I'll have a testing whether it is working, not working, or I can call it validation. Once that is done, we'll start monitor whether what we expected in the starting has been delivered or not. Right. If it is uh, pending or anything is left, we will check in our monitoring phase. And last part is my closure, wherein I will complete the project. If I transfer it or maybe think in terms of an IT project, so what IT project will have? IT project will have these things. First part is initiation. In the first part, I would like to understand what are my business goals. I would like to understand the scope. What what is my in scope, what is out of scope. Then I would like to understand my stakeholders, right? Because they will give more details about it. So first part is I'll get to know more about who are my stakeholders. Then I will know about what are the scoped item, and then I'll also talk about business goals. That what is it that we want to achieve in the initiation phase. And then in the next phase, planning and design, we will start working on creating documents. Now, why is it important to have documents? The reason why we have documents in place, so tomorrow we have something as source of truth, right? Tomorrow, when we have delivered a product and client comes to you and says that, hey, I want to change it, or maybe I'm not liking this product, we might have to tweak it. So you can go back to this document and says that we agreed on this term, or you can call it document acts like an agreement that we both the parties, your business and your implementation agrees that this is what we are going forward and will build on it. So that's why we need a document. What all documents are needed, we'll start learning in the upcoming classes. Documentation is one part. Then we'll also create designs like process design, technical design, right? All of different design we'll have to create after we have gathered our information. We will be learning how to create designs, what could be the various design that we'll have to create, and what all tool we will be using to create those design. That is coming up in next class. Once my design is ready, I have created the documents, then I'll have next phase. In next phase, which is my execution, I will start, I'll have my developers being working on. I'll have my testers doing the job. Developers' job is whatever we have agreed here, that this is what we want to deliver. Developer will be working on that part. Tester would be whatever developer has developed. Tester would see the document, what is the expectation, and then he will validate whether what developers have created is as per design or not. If not, then they will raise questions, they will raise defects, and that has to be fixed. After this is done, then we will move towards monitoring phase. Monitoring and control. Here, once all of them are done, then we'll look at the changes, uh, uh, we'll validate it from the client, and then it is like the movement to the final prod. Prod is wherein we will make it live. Then in the last, I'll conduct UAT, sign off, and PIR. PIR is called post implementation review. In last phase, when I have to close, I'll have activities like I'll do UAT, then I'll have uh, sign off, sign off from the client that whatever we have developed, we are okay, and please provide a formal sign off that we are good to proceed. And after sign off, then maybe we will deploy it into the prod. It will be, the product will be live, and then we can provide support for like next 15 to 20 days when we can check. This is known as hypercare support. That is, something is failing, we will check and validate and try to fix as soon as possible. Now, what is, if I talk about in terms of service now? So if I talk about first part, initiation, so my job would be to gather information about the product I am working on. Suppose the client says that we have to work on ServiceNow's ITSM. So I want to gather information regarding ITSM. Like what all things I will need to implement ITSM. I will gather those information in the starting. Then in the next, I'll conduct discovery session, draft user stories. So that is how I will capture requirements. What is user story? That is coming up. We will soon be discussing about user stories, how to write it. We'll talk about it. Then after user stories are written, then when, how we are going to develop it. So for that we have, we'll divide our work into maybe small chunks. Like we will deliver it for next 3 weeks. We are going to complete these activities in 3 weeks. Then next 3 weeks. So we'll divide our work into these small intervals. These are known as sprint. Suppose this is what you have to deliver a complete work. This is a timeline. The timeline may be for, right now the timeline is for maybe this is 8 weeks, or roughly if I call it that 2 months you will take to deliver a project. So one way is that you do it in the complete stretch, and the another way is that you will divide it into 2 weeks of effort. That first we will do it for like 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks. So when we are dividing our project into small intervals, these are known as sprint. What is sprint? Where does this word comes from? we will soon be looking at. This is my topic in the next class. So we'll participate in sprint, we will start developing and testing. Here, in the next phase, I'll ensure that all the requirements are traceable, that all the requirements are belonging to what we agreed in the starting part. After that, I'll do the final handover documentation once UAT sign off and post implementation is done. That's how we'll complete the different phases in a project. Now, before I move to the next slide, any questions so far about uh, uh, project lifecycle? This is the typical phases you will see in a project. We
I
will
mean,
dig deep. Yes.
okay. Where exactly did ServiceNow Business Analyst will come? They will work on all the five phase, or where exactly they have more work, or mm,
Mhm.
can you explain that in this project
Sure.
life
That is
cycle?
coming. That is in my next slides. I'll
Okay.
cover it today only.
Okay. Mm.
Let me make a note. Okay. Anything else? I see something in chat. Fine. If we do not have any other question, then I'll move to the next part. See, this is how a typical software development lifecycle looks like. SDLC is more towards your creating software. And here we are creating softwares, we are creating part of it, we are designing it, we are developing it. So let's learn from IT way. This is a generic project that you will see, and it might be for IT, it might be for others as well. But let's look more specific what you will see um, in IT space. And to answer your question, I am already covering it. So that means we are on the right path. We are thinking right. So first part is SDLC is your software development lifecycle. Typically, you will see this word being used in domain project. Domain project, what could be the domain project? Suppose you're working in a banking project. You are creating a banking system, or you're working uh, in life science project. Life science is your healthcare. There you are creating a software for them. So then we have these different phases like uh, requirement gathering, analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, and maintenance. This is what you will find in a typical project of an IT, right? Now, why do we have why SDLC is created like this? So that we ensure that quality is maintained, there is consistency across the various phases, and we can trace anything that we are doing across these different project stages. My first stage is now this is where the real game starts. Requirement gathering. Requirement gathering is knowing about my requirements. What is it that I will be doing? Now, if I tie it back to the previous project phases that we did, you will see some of them are resembling. But exactly what happens in IT, this is what happens in IT. And if I talk about who dominates this first phase or who will be doing more work, that is your PA. PA will be having conversation with the stakeholders, will identify stakeholders, will understand their requirement, will understand their pain points, will understand their as is process. Right. This is what happens in requirement gathering. Then comes my phase two. Phase two is my analysis. After I have gathered all the information, then I'll analyze. That here also BA will be there. Along with BA, I'll have technical architect. We will be analyzing whether the requirements that the client is putting in front of us, what is my analysis? What is it that we can do out of it? Where does ServiceNow fits into it? Right? We have gathered all our information. After we have done our analysis, my next part is design. Design is where I'll start creating documents. What are the different types of documents? We have BRD, we have FRD, right? And let me show you. Skip it here only. So I have different documents, BRD, FRD, then there is technical document. We will create process diagrams, right? So if I tell you about BRD, FRD, that is the responsibility of a BA, and technical document will be created by technical architect. Process diagram will again be done by BA. So this is what I'll do in my phase 2. At the same time, once these parts are completed, I'll have my user stories being created in parallel. What is user story? Let me ask you to wait for some time and we'll talk about what is a user story. And for now, just remember that whenever I have a complete project, or this is my scope that I want to deliver, right? So if I share this complete, or maybe here mention all of my requirements in FRD. BRD is your, let me also break down BRD for you, FRD and TDD. BRD is called business requirement. FRD is called functional requirement. And TDD is called technical design document. Okay, business requirement is when business will tell you high level that what is it that they require. Functional requirement is what are the functional information or the how the system will be working. That is what I will capture in functional requirement. Technical design document is it's more about the how different things like ServiceNow is connected to any other tool or how this architecture fits into the client's environment. So that is what is your technical design. Now, first two are done by BA. The next one is will be done by your technical architect. Uh, this BRD, how to write BRD, what are the components of BRD, what are the components of FRD. This we will soon be covering in our one of the classes, which is your deliverables. I'll also tell you what all questions we will ask while creating these documents. Okay, now suppose this is your entire scope. Instead of throwing everything in front of the developer, what we will do, we'll create small units. Like this is one, then this is another, then this is another, and so on. I will create small requirements. These small unit of requirement is known as user stories. It is very easy for a user to or a developer to work according to this user stories. So we'll know about what is user story and how to create, how to write soon. After designing is done, user stories are done, then comes my development part. So developer based on this user story would be developing the requirements. Then comes my testing part. After testing, I have UAT. Testing is done by this implementation team, but UAT is done by the client. From here onwards, after first phase 3, my work is reduced. In development, testing, and UAT, I work more like a coordinator. BA will be coordinating things. In case developers or testers are stuck somewhere, they are not able to understand the functionality, they will help them with that functionality. And then in the UAT, you will have a session with a client, they will be testing your product. And once they have tested, my next part is deployment. Deployment means we will make our product live. After deployment is done, then I have last part that the product is live. You would have seen that typically we'll see that, or we will assume that my work is over at this point, right? But that's not the case. Even if you buy a product, right? Your product is created, developed, tested, everything, and then you have bought the product. But even after buying the product, there are certain work that we'll have to do, that is maintenance of that product. If that product got stuck, we'll have to fix it. So here also, when we have delivered our product, there is a part that is known as maintenance. That I'll have to maintain that product. What happens in maintenance? There will be scheduled checkups, or if it breaks down, we will fix this product. We can enhance this product. We can add a new feature into this product. So that is what happens in maintenance. Maintenance is also known as support, supporting the project, or they are usually known as support projects. Now, before I move to the next part, any question you are having in this phases? After this, we'll talk about the types of project and uh, what type of project you can find when you will be joining a company. So, any question here? Anyone?
Hi. So my question is, do we have a timeline for the each phases? Hello.
Okay. Yes, yes, I'm listening.
So
So you're
so
asking about timelines.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think they're on right track. That is what I was covering next. What are the types of project? Okay. Now we want to understand types of project. First, on the basis of nature, and second, on the basis of uh, timelines and complexity. Okay. So first, I'll know about for nature. Nature is a see. There can be a project that we are doing it from scratch. Okay. What is the meaning of scratch? Take it down. One, two, three, four. Greenfield implementation means I am building it from scratch. The meaning of greenfield implementation is I have a client, the client name is XYZ, and they have not used, or maybe this company is starting, maybe this is just 1 year old company, and they want to go into, they want to have ITSM for them, right? So now I can say that they did not had any background of ITSM, or there was no, I mean, they were not using anything before. This is the first time they are using. So they will have to build everything from scratch. This is known as greenfield implementation, right? Now, second type of project is that there is another company that is ABC. Today they are using Jira for ITSM and they are not happy with this product, Jira. So what they are asking that instead of Jira, I want to move towards ServiceNow, right? So that is known as legacy project or migration project. You are migrating from one tool to another tool that is already created, right? After this is done, then my next project is upgradation project. That maybe today I'm using ServiceNow itself. I have ITSM, but then ITSM I'm using only basic version and I want to upgrade to a new version, or I want to upgrade to a, so even in ITSM I have different type of licensing. That one is my standard, then I have enterprise, then I have a pro version. So maybe I want to move upgrade to new version, better version. The way if I call you if I give you an example of iPhone, right? Even in if I talk about the latest iPhone, that is iPhone 17. Even iPhone 17 has two versions. Maybe one with less memory, another with more memory or more space, right? So that way, even ServiceNow also has three licensing. So first you start with standard, then you can move to enterprise and pro. So that is upgradation project. At the same time, ServiceNow keeps giving you releases that after 6 months they are changing to a new release. The way in phones we have new upgrades coming up. After 6 months, you will see there is a new patch or there is some change in the feature or functionality. So in ServiceNow also we have that type of projects that is known as upgradation. Greenfield legacy upgradation and the last part is called known as support project. Support project is something has already implemented, right? We have already implemented that maybe in ServiceNow, ITSM is already there. Now what we are saying that first, whenever a product is delivered, there can be certain issues with it. Maybe something is not working, or you want to enhance it, or you want to bring in improvement plans, or maybe you want to bring in automation. You want to add analytics layer over it, or you want to bring in Gen AI use cases, something like this. So whenever we are supporting a project which is already created, now you are changing this behavior, you are modifying it, you are enhancing it. That comes under support project. So very first thing that you want to understand when you're working on a project is what kind of project it is. It is an implementation project or it is a support project, right? That is first based on the nature. Now, second, based on the, as you were asking about the timelines. So timelines depend on the various factors. First factor is what is the complexity of a project. That is it. And generally we can divide complexity into three parts. One is highly complex, medium complex, or low on complexity. How do we drive what is a high complex or medium complex or low complex? This again depends on the intricacies of a project. Maybe when I'm calling a project is highly complex, it means it has many products and the scope of the project is more. At the same time, the user base is small, or maybe the company itself is large. For example, I can have a project being taken from a company. One is a company which has business across world. right? Another, I have a company which has business only limited to one state or only limited to few state in my country. So that's how I'll define the company size. And that's how I'll also define the user base. One which is expanded over the world will have more complexities. One complexity about this business, what I can tell you is, see, one thing is that when my business is expanded across the world, it means I have users from different natives. So they will have their different languages. I assume that all of them will be speaking English, but it's not the case all the time. So one thing for sure is whenever I'm developing a product, I need to make sure that it should be convertible to their language, or they can translate it into a language that they can understand. So that becomes my one complexity. Then there are different laws in different countries. So I'll have to create a product that is complying to their laws. There are a few things that I'm telling you. Maybe you will get to know more about them when you will actually work on the product. So one way is the timeline depends on the complexity. It's a high, medium, or low complexity. Second factor is resources and budget. Suppose I'm saying that you have to deliver this project, like this is your scope, but I am only giving you that I can pay only for 5 resources, and that too the less experienced. So the obvious thing is it will take more time. If you give me less resource, you will it will take more time. But if you increase your budget and you say that you can hire experienced person as well, if I'm doing it with 10, then the timeline of this project will be reduced. But all of this timeline depends on my scope as in the starting as I mentioned. That if my scope is right now that I can maybe the client can come to me and says that hey, I only want ITSM to be implemented. And then there is another client which is saying I want ITSM, I also want HRSD. And at the same time, I'm also looking forward to have FSM in place. So this project will take more time. But if you want to deliver it in less time, what I can do, I can hire a BA, ServiceNow BA who is experienced in ITSM. That is my BA1. Then I can hire another BA who is experienced in HRSD, and third BA who is experienced in FSM. So I can create or I can hire ServiceNow BA as per the stream, as per the product, and then I can run this project in parallel. So that way my timeline will reduce. But here I will need more funds to bring, but because the resource size is increasing or the implementation team, the size of implementation team has increased. Hope that answers your question. And also about BA's role and what are the uh, where BA would be putting in more effort. So the starting 3 phases, you will see BA would be putting in more effort, and then in the next phase, you will work more in the coordination. But here as well in development and testing, there are certain part that BA will be doing. We will be covering it soon. Any question before I move forward?
Yes, hi Jay.
Yes.
Jay, I have a question in phase two, which is about analysis. So, could you tell me, as I was just studying about analysis, so do a ServiceNow BA need to use any analysis tools like Excel or any
Okay. You're
language
asking
that
about analysis tools.
yes,
Mhm.
analysis tools, or does he need to learn any languages like uh, Python or maybe SQL in a ServiceNow
Okay.
business, uh, in a ServiceNow BA.
Okay. Okay. Now, just look at these phases. Okay. So it is very obvious that Even if I have to do some coding or anything, I will not be doing in this phase. This is purely documentation work, right? Wherein you will have meeting with a client, understanding their requirement, analysis, design. And even if at certain point there is a work that is asking me that I have to use some language, right? Maybe the language here is your computer language. It can be JavaScript, Python, or anything. That will be coming up in phase 4, in development stage, right? And this the ownership of development is specific to developers only. So my job as a BA would be, when I say analysis, it means that all the information that the or I have gathered. Suppose when I'm gathering information, it's not just having a meeting with the client and I'm done. No, there is a lot more to it. And to cover it, I have a session. I have complete class on requirement gathering. But just to tell you in a quick way, that requirement gathering is all about. First, I'll ask them what are their pain points, what are their as is process, what are their objectives. Can you share what you have already? What is it that you are already using? So I'll have lot of sources wherein I'll have requirements. After those requirements have been captured, I want to analyze, right? Maybe I'll do a gap analysis, that what is the difference between what is it that they're having today and what is it that they're expecting tomorrow. What could be the impact if I bring these changes? So it's not that you will be doing alone analysis, it will be with technical architect. But the analysis here is to create a design, to create a step-by-step process of a product. It's not the technical part that we'll have to do. And about the tools that you are asking me, that what all tools I will be using? Yes, I will be using tools. So I will be telling about that. What all tools you will be using? Few tools that I can tell you right away is that I will be using first. As I mentioned, that I have to create process diagram. For that, I'll have to use tool. So few tool are Visio, if you would have heard of. It's a product from Microsoft where you can draw
Yes.
diagrams. There is a product called Draw.io. There is a product called Lucid Chart. Then there is Figma and lot more, right? Now, what tool you will have to learn? It's not that you have to learn all the tools. Even if you master one of the two, that is enough. Because the working is same across whether you work here or on other two. It's like um using one tool for chatting, maybe WhatsApp. If you know the basic that there is sender, there is receiver, then what content I want to share, the content can be in terms of text, it can be in terms of image, video, audio, right? I can send message from here and the another person will receive. Now the same concept is applied in most of our applications today. Whether I move from WhatsApp to Instagram to Facebook or to any other, wherein I'll see this option of texting. Right. If same cases here, if you learn any one of them, then you can draw diagram on Visio, Lizard chart, and Figma. Just there will be hardly 5, 10, or maybe 20% change of name and terminology that you will accommodate. So we will create diagram using draw.io. At all, if you do not have any one of them, then you do it on PPT. Okay. Now, what tool you will be using, that totally depends on the project you will be part of or the client you will be working with, the licenses that the client will be having. So this is one set of tool. Another set is that is coming up, maybe communication tool, what all tool you will be using. Then there is agile tool. We'll talk about all of these tools, and do not worry, we will also do work on them. So communication tool could be Outlook. Then we have Teams channel, I mean Teams. We have Slack. Trello is there, right? So these are the communication tool. And then I'll also have for documentation. It again depends on what client is having. There can be Google Workspace like Google Sheets, Google PPT, or there can be MS, Microsoft Suite as well, like Word, PPT, Excel. Agile tools, as I mentioned, that once I have completed all the work in development, developers would be developing the requirements. But I'll have to facilitate this development into a tool. That tool is known as Jira. There are also Azure DevOps, and in ServiceNow we have ServiceNow Agile. Since we are learning ServiceNow, so we will learn this too. Same concept here as well. That if you learn any one of them, it is very easy for you to work on other products. So these are very high level. You will be working on these products. Then there can be another SharePoint could be there. Confluence is there, which is for storing and creating documents on uh, uh, on cloud. Is it clear? Any other question?
Yes, that's it. I wanted to ask, like, we won't be using any data analysis tools or like that in ServiceNow Business Analyst.
Okay. About data analysis, most of your data analysis comes on Excel itself, right?
Okay.
About other tools, maybe you are referring to Power BI, Tableau, and all. So ServiceNow itself has one
Mm-hmm.
uh, product that is known as Platform Analytics. There you can create reports, you can create dashboard, you can schedule them, and how to do it, that I can guarantee you by end of the training you will be able to create reports. And not just report, wonderful reports. And it will, there will not be any coding at any point. Now there is advanced version to it. Advanced will be taken care by your developers. But at least citizen level, layman level, you will be able to create reports. Wonderful dashboards, how to schedule those reports, how to send it to someone, how to convert it into other format, you will be able to do it. ServiceNow will give you that functionality. You'll just have to plug and play. Okay, anything else?
Thank you. That's it from my side.
Perfect.
Hi, Jay. I
Now,
have a
next part
question.
is, okay. Yes, please.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask during the requirement gathering, is there
Mhm.
a template maybe given by the company, or do we as a BA have like a rough template? Of course, there can be, more added to
Mhm.
that to start asking questions and to start gathering requirements.
Perfect. You have answered my question and also your question as well. So first thing is that when you're creating BRT and FRT, the template, so you will have a, you will first ask your client that do you follow any specific template, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you, me, or anyone cannot have a template that a company is using because every company might use their own template, their theme, wordings, color, and all.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing is you will ask from the client itself, do you or can you share any document from the previous engagement, or can you share a sample template? If they say if they are sharing it with you, super, your work is done. If not, then I have set of uh, uh, table of content that should be there in a in BRD or FRD that I will be sharing you by end of this BA phase. When we'll complete BA phase, you will have 6 to 7 documents that you will be creating, right? So I'll share
Awesome.
standard document. So that will be helpful. If client is not sharing it with you, you can use the template. Or maybe if you want to include anything from your end, you can add it on top of it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, next part is as we were talking about these various phases. These various phases are incomplete if I do not know what all meetings I would be having. So if I can give you a template kind of thing, that what are the typical meetings you will see in a project. First meeting you will see is a kickoff call. Kickoff call is more about introducing project to you and telling you about what is the scope, what are the different stakeholders, and what are the expectations. Now, if you see, I have three uh, columns. The last column is talking about what is the BA's role. First part is kickoff meeting is a first meeting. It's a one meeting, right? Well, you will be introduced to the client. You are working or you will be, your role would be on a passive side here. Well, the only thing that you will be doing is you will be understanding the expectation from the client. It will be led by the client itself. Client will be telling them, this is my company, this is my company's profile, these are my challenges, and this is what I want, I am expecting. Right. Once my kickoff call is done, then the project will be led by BA. Of course, in the background, project manager will be there and technical architect and your implementation team will be there. So first part you will start is having the discovery calls and workshop. Discovery call and workshop are the places where you will be having meetings with the different stakeholders as per the requirement. What is it that uh, you want to find the output in a meeting? So you will be having discovery calls. This is where you would want to understand more from the client, to understand their process, to take the requirements, to have demo with them, right? The output of these meetings would be that you will be having a, see these things, your BRD, FRD, technical design document, and process diagram will be uh, completed from here. Then I'll have daily stand-ups. Daily stand-up is once I am into a development phase, I want to have a meeting with my developers on daily basis and want to track that where they are, what is it that they are working. Is it completed or not? Or if it is not completed, is there any challenge? Challenge in understanding the requirement, or they need help from a stakeholder. So that I will be doing here to track the progress, share blockers, updates, and even understand. Then you might have a meeting with leadership team. It might be once in a week or maybe uh, twice in a month, wherein you will be sharing the status update to the leadership that, hi, this is what we are working on, and we have completed this part. We are this is what our focus area would be. I also see if you can highlight the risk as well. If you see something, if you foresee something, then you have approval meetings. The approval is very important. And when do we need approval? We need approval at each stage. Suppose I have gathered requirement, I have done analysis, and my documents are prepared. VRD, FRD, technical design document are prepared. Here I need a sign off from the client. Then can you please provide a sign off? If not, then if you have any feedback, let us know. We'll work on it and we'll share the final version. So client will sign these document so that you will have a now confirmed scope that we want to work here. After development is done, you want to have a meeting with the client and tell them we have completed this. Right. You might also showcase them a demo. Development testing might go hand in hand. After testing is done, you will have a UAT. So you will again take a sign off from the UAT. Why do we take approval or sign off at UAT? Because after UAT you are putting into prod. It will go live. So your one of your important part here is to have uh, approvals on design, scope, and development, whatever you have completed. Then UAT sessions is more about validating outcomes. Whatever has been tested is correct or not. Whatever has been developed. Last part is called your closure or retrospective. After everything is completed, you want to have a meeting and want to see what all lessons you have taken from this project, right? What was the best thing? What is it that you could have improved? So you can document those lessons, and maybe for the next project you can use the same. So this is what you will see in a typical meetings or typical meetings that you will find in a project. There are more to it. We will be discussing in detail in the upcoming classes. Okay, quick things about as I started in the about project phases. We can look at the key activities and BA deliverables. So first part is when I'm in the initiation phase, when I'm gathering the requirement. So you want to create a high level scope document. Yeah, this is what we want to work on. Then once I go into the planning phase, I'll have my sessions when I'll create PRD, FRD, process diagram. Then in the execution phase, I'll create user stories, test cases will be created, development will be done. In the monitoring, I'll have change logs, closure, I'll have UAT. Now, what stakeholders are involved in each phases? Starting, I'll have project manager and business sponsor. When I'm into planning phase, I'll have SMEs, product owner, and technical architect. When I'm into execution, I'll have developers and QA. Here, I'll have governance team when I'm tracking the progress. And in the last closure, when I'm doing the UAT, I'll have clients or business users and product manager, and then I'll have project template being. This is what usually you will find the stakeholders and their deliverables. So this is it about a project lifecycle and SDLC. Now, I have a mini assignment. It's not something that you will have to share it with me. It's just a 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe when you are free, just think of the project that you are currently working on, or maybe the last project that you have worked on. It's not necessary that it has to be IT project. It can be non-IT as well. Now, based on our discussion today, just think about what type of meeting you were having, right? What decisions were made and how communication was flowing, and try to see what all phases were there in your project. Just a activity, nothing that it's a compulsion, you'll have to do it. Just think about and try to relate with this um, project template, that can you fit something into it. Was there any initiation phase? Then did we move into a planning phase? Was there any execution? And then what was the closure? What all key activities were there? What were the typical meetings that were arranged? So you will find there is some percentage of resemblance with these phases, right? It is just an observation, because tomorrow you will be working on these things. So before I wrap today's session, let me know if you still have some questions. I am happy to take your question and I can answer them. And after that, I can hand it over to Sudesh, or maybe we can meet on Saturday. The timing would be 8:30. But let me know if you have any queries from today's session, and how is it going for you? You're liking the session? Anything that you want to share? Let me know.
Jay, I have a question.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So, could you explain more about the governance team? Uh, yeah, just that. Like, what do the governance team will do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do we need a governance team? The governance team is needed so that whatever I am doing, someone should be able to keep a check on it, right? For example, uh, when I'm saying here in the governance, in the monitoring, change logs, and everything, this is fair. Suppose I have done the requirement gathering, I have developed a product, and it is tested, right? Now, we are into a space where I have an implementation team, and we just want to create a product, and that is it. At the end, we are done. We'll try to map. I mean, as a BI, I can think about that I have to, whatever I'm creating, I'll have to map it to the objectives, to the actual vision of the product or what client is looking forward to. But once my product is ready, so I want to showcase it to the team. The team is known as governance team. What this governance team will do, once I'm showcasing it to the governance team, they will be checking whether it is up to the mark, or they might have some questions, they might have some feedback. So there I will be validating with them. So the governance team, it might not be just one person, it might be a set of people from different technology. They might see, suppose we are working on ServiceNow. So I might have someone from the ServiceNow team from the client side. Then there can be an associated uh, architect, or there can be a release manager. So now we'll have persons from different walk of, different IT team who can look at the requirement and see if it is affecting them some way, right? Or maybe some other way. Here you can also showcase them that what is it that you have completed, what is it you've worked on. So this governance team would be looking at your final product, or maybe in between as well. And then they might have some feedback, some questions that you will have to answer. And sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time they give you a good feedback as well, that maybe you can improvise the product. At this part, I'll see there are some security issues. We need to fix it. Maybe you're working for a client wherein data is very important. So I need to make sure that whenever I'm creating a process, my data is not going out of the system at any point. So if something is being missed by me or during the initial requirement gathering phase, can be checked at here as well. Or maybe in other way, if you look at it, after I have deployed anything, I know that I have already taken maybe informal approval here, that yes, we are good to launch this project into the prod. That is what the governance team will do. And about the governance team, I'll tell, we will revisit this part in change management. That is part of my ITSM. So you will remember this governance there. Does that answer your question, or you still have some other?
No, Jay, actually, thank you. So it is more like risk, risk management, and then SecOps and chain management,
Right.
right? All three together.
Exactly. Exactly. But if I tell you SecOps, risk and all, that's a separate product in ServiceNow itself.
Okay,
We might
thanks.
not cover for ITSM all of those things, but yes, certain part of it is there.
Okay, Jay, thanks.
I have GRC product, right?
Mm.
Okay. Any other question from anyone? Or is there something in chat? Some projects have testing team itself given the UAT test cases signed off by the client. And the testing team itself doing the UAT test cases. Yes, in UAT, you will have users from the client side itself. Whether they bring it from their testing team or they bring it from the end user who will be actually using the uh, product. So totally up to the client. They can bring any user they want who will be validating. Basically, what we want, that we want someone from the client side should be validating whatever we have created. No, Lakshmi. Right now, GRC is not needed. Since this term was mentioned here, that's why I explained more about GRC. Our focus would be only to learn admin part of ServiceNow. Then we will go to ITSM. And also will also do HRSD and SP. I think, see, even with ITSM, there are a lot of opportunities in market. For HRSD also, for SPM also. You can learn a lot of tools. Every tool will have their opportunity. But what is it, since you are learning ServiceNow for the first time, we want to start small, start easy. We do not want to start big and start complicated. Right? Of course, after maybe if you spend sufficient time, maybe 12 months or 18 months, then you want to explore maybe a different product. Why not? You go into GRC or you take CRM. Maybe you can explain or you can set the expectation in the project itself that if we have any GRC project, I am happy or I'm willing to work on GRC. But before you go to the complex and the these critical products, you first learn the easy and the core product of ServiceNow. Okay, anything else? Okay, if we do not have any query, then I think we are good to wrap today's session. Sudesh, anything you want to cover? Okay, I think Sudesh is busy or maybe he's speaking on mute. Okay, fine. I think we are good. Thank you so much. We will have a last session on Saturday, 8:30, same time, and we'll see you there. We will learn about Agile in the next class. So thank you so much. Bye. Take care. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jay.